If you are over the age of 50 and you have ever woken up with your pillow soaked, your mouth wet, and your jaw aching, I need you to stop what you are doing right now and watch this video until the very end. Because what I am about to tell you is not about embarrassment. It is not about a minor inconvenience. It is about a silent warning signal that your body has been sending you, possibly for years, that could be the difference between waking up tomorrow morning and never waking up at all. I know that sounds extreme, but I have sat in hospital rooms with families who wished someone had told them this sooner, and I am not going to let that happen to you. My name is Dr. Richard Calloway. I am a board-certified pulmonologist and sleep medicine specialist with over 28 years of clinical experience. I have treated thousands of patients with sleep-related conditions, and in all those decades, one pattern has haunted me more than any other. Patients who had the warning signs for years, patients whose bodies were screaming for help every single night, and patients who either did not recognize those signs or worse, recognized them and said nothing to their doctor because they thought it was harmless. Excessive drooling during sleep is not harmless. In many adults over 50, it is one of the most visible, most ignored red flags for a condition that is quietly destroying the heart, the brain, and the vascular system from the inside out, every single night while you sleep. In this video, I am going to walk you through 5 habits and patterns connected to nighttime drooling and sleep apnea that are silently putting your life at risk. I am going to explain exactly what is happening inside your body while you think you are simply resting. And by the time we reach habit number 1, the most dangerous of all 5, I believe you will understand why so many people never get the chance to have this conversation with their doctor. Stay with me. Every single minute of this video could matter. But first, what is your body actually telling you? Most people think drooling in sleep is caused by sleeping on your side, or being a heavy sleeper, or simply being the kind of person who has always done it, and they leave it at that. Here is what they do not know. Excessive chronic nighttime drooling in adults over 50 is one of the most consistent physical indicators of obstructive sleep apnea. When the airway partially collapses during sleep, the body instinctively tries to compensate. The jaw relaxes and drops. The mouth falls open. Saliva pools and spills. What looks like a minor, almost comedic inconvenience is actually your body's physical response to suffocating in your sleep. And the suffocation, even partial, even brief, is killing people. Let me show you exactly how. Habit number 5, sleeping on your back without knowing what it does to your airway. This is the habit most people have never been warned about because it looks like the most natural thing in the world. You lie down, you fall asleep, you wake up with a wet pillow and a stiff neck and think nothing of it. But here is what is happening beneath the surface. When you sleep flat on your back, especially after the age of 50, gravity pulls the soft tissue of your throat, your tongue, your soft palate directly downward into your airway. In a younger, more elastic airway, this is manageable. In an airway that has lost muscle tone with age, it becomes a partial or full obstruction. The result is that your body cannot move air freely. Oxygen drops. Your brain registers a threat. Stress hormones flood your system, your heart rate spikes, your blood pressure surges, and then, a second or two later, you shift, you gasp slightly, you swallow, and the cycle resets. You sleep through almost all of it. You wake up thinking you slept fine. But your cardiovascular system has been in crisis response mode for hours. And the drooling? That is your open, gravity-dropped jaw telling you exactly what position your airway was in all night. A study published in the journal Sleep Medicine found that back sleeping increased the frequency and severity of obstructive sleep apnea episodes by more than 50% compared to side sleeping in adults over 55. More than half. From something as simple as the position you choose when you lie down. The fix tonight is straightforward. Sleep on your side. Place a firm pillow behind your back to prevent rolling over. Elevate the head of your bed slightly if possible. These are small adjustments with outsized protective impact. Habit number 4, drinking alcohol within 3 hours of bedtime. I want you to think about whether this applies to you before I explain why it matters. A glass of wine with dinner that runs late, a beer in the evening to unwind, a nightcap that has become part of the routine. For millions of adults over 50, this is not an occasional indulgence. It is a nightly ritual, and it is making sleep apnea dramatically, measurably worse. Here is the mechanism. Alcohol is a muscle relaxant. When you consume it within a few hours of sleep, it does not just relax your shoulders and your mind, it relaxes the muscles of your throat, the same muscles responsible for keeping your airway open while you sleep. Under the influence of alcohol, those muscles go slack earlier, more completely, and for longer than they otherwise would. The result is more frequent airway collapses, longer breathing pauses, deeper oxygen drops, more cardiovascular stress events per hour of sleep. Research published in the American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine found that even moderate alcohol consumption before bed increased sleep apnea severity by up to 25% and significantly elevated the risk of dangerous nighttime oxygen desaturation in adults with undiagnosed airway obstruction. And here is the cruel irony. Alcohol also suppresses the brain's arousal response. Normally, when your oxygen drops dangerously low during an apnea episode, your brain triggers a micro-awakening to restart breathing. Alcohol blunts that response. So not only are you having more apnea episodes, your brain is less likely to rescue you from them. Gerald was 58 years old, active, sociable, the kind of man who considered a glass or two of red wine each evening a reasonable and even heart-healthy habit. His wife had commented on his snoring for years. She had noticed the wet pillow. He laughed it off. One morning, she could not wake him. Gerald had suffered a fatal cardiac arrhythmia overnight. His autopsy revealed severe undiagnosed sleep apnea. His toxicology showed a moderate blood alcohol level consistent with 2 to 3 drinks the evening before. His cardiologist told the family that the combination almost certainly contributed directly to the fatal event. Gerald's wife has given me permission to share his story. She wants you to hear it. If you drink in the evenings, please talk to your doctor about what that means for your airway while you sleep. Habit number 3. Ignoring daytime sleepiness. As just getting older, we are now entering the top 3. And I want you to understand that what I am about to describe is one of the most dangerous acts of self-dismissal I have witnessed in 3 decades of medicine. Adults over 50 have been conditioned to accept fatigue, to treat exhaustion as a natural and inevitable feature of aging, to say, "I am just tired," and move on. And in doing so, they are walking past one of the most important diagnostic signals their body will ever produce. Chronic daytime sleepiness, the kind where you doze in a chair after lunch, where you struggle to stay awake during a conversation, where no amount of sleep ever makes you feel fully rested, is not normal aging. In the majority of adults over 50 who experience it, it is a direct symptom of obstructive sleep apnea. Here is why. When your airway collapses during sleep, your brain is forced into a micro-awakening to restart breathing. You do not remember these awakenings. They last only seconds, but they happen dozens, sometimes hundreds of times per night. And each one pulls you out of the deep restorative stages of sleep your cardiovascular system depends on to repair itself. The result is that you spend 8 hours in bed and wake up feeling as though you barely slept at all, because biologically you barely did. Research from the National Sleep Foundation found that untreated sleep apnea reduces time spent in deep sleep by up to 80% in moderate to severe cases. 80%. Your body is going through the motions of sleep without receiving any of its life-sustaining benefits. And in the cardiovascular system, that deficit accumulates. Blood pressure that never fully recovers overnight, inflammatory markers that rise instead of falling, arterial stiffness that compounds week after week, month after month. Eleanor was 62 years old when she told me she was just tired all the time. She had said the same thing to 2 previous doctors who told her it was stress, or age, or perhaps mild depression. She drooled heavily every night. She snored. She woke up with headaches. Her husband said she sometimes stopped breathing in her sleep for what felt like a very long time. A sleep study confirmed severe obstructive sleep apnea, with her oxygen dropping to dangerous levels more than 40 times per hour. She began CPAP therapy. Within 6 weeks, she told me she felt, for the first time in nearly a decade, like herself again. She also told me she was angry that she had spent years being told this was normal. It is not normal. Please do not let anyone tell you it is. Habit number 2. Never mentioning the drooling to your doctor. We are almost at the most dangerous habit on this list, but first, I need to address something directly and honestly, because it is costing lives. People do not tell their doctors about nighttime drooling. I have asked patients about sleep symptoms for nearly 3 decades, and the drooling almost never comes up unless I ask specifically. And when I do ask, patients laugh, look embarrassed, wave their hand and say, "Oh, I have always done that." Always done that is not a medical explanation. It is a dismissal, and it is closing the door on a conversation that could save your life. Here is why this matters so urgently. Excessive nighttime drooling, particularly when accompanied by snoring, morning headaches, daytime fatigue, or witnessed breathing pauses, is one of the most reliable clinical indicators of obstructive sleep apnea. When a physician hears that combination of symptoms, a sleep study becomes an urgent priority, not a distant consideration. But when patients stay silent about the drooling, when they omit it out of embarrassment or because they genuinely do not know it is relevant, physicians are working with incomplete information. A crucial piece of the diagnostic picture is missing, and the sleep apnea goes undetected. The Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine published data showing that patients who proactively reported all sleep-related symptoms, including drooling, snoring, and nighttime mouth breathing, were diagnosed with sleep apnea an average of 4 years earlier than those who did not. 4 years. In a condition that doubles the risk of heart attack and quadruples the risk of stroke, 4 years of untreated apnea is not a minor gap. It is potentially the difference between a full life and a funeral. Victor was 66 years old and had drooled in his sleep for as long as his wife could remember. He was a quiet, private man who considered his bodily functions his own business. He never mentioned it to his doctor. He never mentioned the snoring either, or the fact that he fell asleep every single afternoon without choosing to. He came to me for an unrelated matter, a routine follow-up for mild hypertension. I asked him directly. Within minutes, I had enough clinical information to order an urgent sleep study. His apnea was severe. His overnight oxygen levels had been dropping to levels I would describe as incompatible with long-term survival. He told me afterward, "Doctor, I thought you would think I was being silly." I want every person watching this video to hear what I told him. There is nothing silly about staying alive. Tell your doctor about the drooling. Tell them about the snoring. Tell them about the fatigue and the headaches and the wet pillow. Tell them everything. Let them decide what is relevant. That is what they are there for. Habit number 1. Knowing something is wrong and doing nothing. I promised you at the beginning of this video that the number 1 most dangerous habit would be the one that stops you cold. And I meant it. Because this one is not about what you eat, or how you sleep, or what position your body is in at night. This one is about a choice. The single most deadly habit I have witnessed in adults over 50 with sleep apnea is knowing on some level that something is not right and choosing not to act on it. Choosing to wait. Choosing to assume it is not serious enough, choosing to be embarrassed or busy or convinced that it will resolve on its own. Sleep apnea does not resolve on its own. It progresses. It worsens with age, with weight changes, with the natural loss of muscle tone in the airway that comes with every passing year. And every night that it goes untreated, it is doing measurable, cumulative damage to the heart and brain. The Harvard Medical School's Division of Sleep Medicine has published data showing that untreated severe sleep apnea reduces life expectancy by an average of 12 to 15 years. 12 to 15 years, not as a theoretical risk, as a measured, documented outcome in real patients. And yet, the average adult with sleep apnea waits more than 7 years from the onset of symptoms before receiving a diagnosis. 7 years of nightly oxygen deprivation, 7 years of cardiovascular stress, 7 years of a heart working harder than it should in the hours it was designed to rest. The man in the title of this video was named Harold. He was 71 years old. His daughter has asked me to tell his story in full. Harold had drooled in his sleep for over a decade. His pillow was wet every single morning. He snored so loudly that his grandchildren used to joke about it when they visited. He fell asleep in his recliner every evening before dinner was finished. His daughter had asked him multiple times to see a doctor about his sleep. He told her he was fine. He told her old men snore and that was just the way of things. He told her he would mention it at his next appointment. He never made it to his next appointment. One morning in November, his daughter found him in his bed, peaceful, still, his pillow wet beneath his cheek. He had suffered a fatal cardiac event overnight. The medical examiner's findings were consistent with severe, long-standing, untreated obstructive sleep apnea. His daughter sat across from me and said through tears, he knew something was wrong. He just didn't think it was worth making a fuss about. Please, make a fuss. Your life is worth every fuss you can make. Your action plan, starting tonight. Here is what I want you to do, beginning right now, before you go to sleep tonight. Tonight, change your sleep position to your side. Place a pillow behind your back. Elevate your head slightly. This week, write down every sleep symptom you have noticed or your partner has mentioned. Drooling, snoring, gasping, morning headaches, daytime fatigue. Write all of it down. At your next doctor's appointment, hand them that list. Ask specifically about a sleep study. Use the words obstructive sleep apnea. Do not leave that office without a plan. If your partner has ever told you that you stop breathing in your sleep, do not wait for your next appointment. Call your doctor's office tomorrow morning. Tell them what your partner observed. Ask for an urgent referral. And if you drink alcohol in the evenings, begin moving that last drink earlier. Give your airway every advantage you can. This costs you nothing tonight except a conversation, a pillow adjustment, and the decision that your life is worth protecting. Your body has been whispering to you every single morning through that wet pillow, that sore jaw, that exhaustion that never fully lifts. It has been asking you to listen. I am asking you to listen too. Share this video tonight with someone you love, a spouse, a sibling, a parent, a friend who snores. You may never know whose life you protected by passing this along. If you found this video helpful, write your age and where you are watching from in the comments below. I read every single one. And please subscribe to this channel because every week I bring you information designed to help you live longer, sleep safer, and protect the people you love. This is Dr. Richard Calloway. I will see you in the next one. Don't wait for a diagnosis to act. Act tonight.